teaching English foreign spoken language, and my fellow friends. Today, I will deliver about my research article, and then the title of my research article is "What English is: Representative and Critical Discourse Analysis of Duterte and Donald Trump Speech." Next, I will deliver about my introduction. In my introductions, communication is very important, and then in here I will try to explore about the characteristic speech in many countries based on the cultural theory, inner circle, outer circle, and expanding circle. This is my introductions, and then the next in introductions there is a reason of the researcher. Why I take this topic? Because I think this topic is very important to know from the society, because these topics can building of the mind and comparing on society about the speech of the heads government. In here I take the Duterte and Donald Trump.
Stop.
And then the problem statements. In my problem statements there are three problem statements. The first, how is the position of English as what English is and the representation of power in the speeches of Duterte and Donald Trump. And then the second, what are the similarities in the representation strategies from in Duterte and Donald Trump's speech. And then the third, what is the find out of critical discourse analysis on Duterte and Donald Trump's speech. Related with my research problem, in my objective study there are three objectives of the study, and then the first, to identify positions of what English is and the representation of power in the speeches of Duterte and Donald Trump. And then the second, to classify the similarities in the representation of power forms in Duterte and Donald Trump speeches. And then third, to find out of critical discourse analysis on Duterte and Donald Trump's speech. This is my background of the study, and then the next I will deliver about my literature review. In my literature review, there are two main points. The first, previous study, and then the second, underlying theory. In my previous study, there are 10 previous study. The first, Castillo 2002, and the second, Persada and Iqbal 2018, and then the third, Mayuga and Cardi 2018, Watch 2018, and then the 5, Kristianto 2019, and then the 6, Habibi, 7, Commodore et al. 2020, and then the 8, William and Rox 2014, and then the 9, King and McLeod 2016, and then the 10, Ekawati et al. 2015. This is my previous study. And then the next, my underlying theory. In underlying theory, I take three points in here. I take 3 points here. The first, I'm used what English is by culture. Culture is explained by the inner circle, expanding circle, and outer circle. Inner circle here includes native English-speaking countries, and then outer circle consists of former colonies such as India, Africa, Nigeria, and then expanding circles includes countries such as China, Japan, and Turkey, and Indonesians in positions on expanding circle. And then the second, discourse analysis. In here, I'm used theory by Crystal and Noonan. And then the third, critical discourse. This is my main point. In critical discourse, I take the theory from Farklux 1989 and 1995. In here, Farklux explained about the step of critical discourse analysis. The first cultural the first context, and then the second, historical context, and then the third, power, and then the last, ideology. In years, culture, Farklux explained about the context of critical discourse analysis. In your relationship between text and social context, and then historical context. particular social context, it means discourse is produced in a particular context and it's not understood without entering the surrounding context. And then the fourth power, the context power is, according to Arianto, discourse that appears in the form of text. And then the fifth, ideology. CDA refers hidden ideologies in language use. This is the critical discourse by Bartlow in my theory. And then my methods. In here, I'm use qualitative descriptive, and then the object of the data I'm used from the speech of Duterte and Donald Trump. I take from the YouTube and I make a script for the analyze. And then in here I'm use the two main theory. The first cut through about the word Englishes, and then the second I'm use theory by Farklub about the discourse analysis, especially in critical discourse analysis and representative. And then this is my example of analysis and discussions. Data 1, Trump speech and Duterte speech. In here I will try to analyze about the speech of the president. And then the first I'm analyze from position what English and representation strategy. And then the second I'm analyze in similarities of representation strategies Donald Trump and Duterte. And then the third, critical discourse analysis. In here, position about English and representation strategy of the Trump speech and Duterte speech. From the data above, Donald Trump only using American English and not delivered, not pay homage to the existing audience, more revealing in general. For Duterte, he prefers to pay homage to the important audience present at the event. This is the differences of Donald Trump and Duterte on opening speech. And then in similarities of representation, there is not similarities of representation strategies in Donald Trump and Duterte because they use their own methods. Duterte with the methods relate with the Philippines Englishes, and then Donald Trump relate with American Englishes. And then the third, critical discourse analysis, like my explanations ago, according to Farklov, there are five points in here. Actions. In actions, Trump and Duterte speak same in situations but different context. So in here, Donald Trump and Duterte speech in same situation, in formal situations. And then the context of the speech is formal, and then Duterte focusing on the problem in his country like corruption and drug. Trump explain about immigrants. And then the third, historical context. The historical of the context tells about the problem in his country. Trump more explain about the military and immigrant issues, and Duterte more explain about drug and corruption. And then the fourth, power. The bottom of the situation is created because the president has a power and the responsibility to change the situation on his country related to the problem. And then the last, ideology. The background of the first president's speech is they want to solve the problem in his country, and they have some ideology for change the situation in his country. This is my analysis in critical discourse analysis, using Farklov's theory. And then the next conclusions. What English is divided three kinds. The first, inner circle, and then the second, outer circles, and expanding circles. This study focusing on inner and outer circle because I'm used two countries. The first America, and then the second Philippines. Americans interpret representative from Donald Trump, and then Philippines representative on Duterte. And in And here, the object of the research taken from American and Philippine president, and then in this research article using the main theory. The main theory is discourse analysis, especially in representative analysis and critical discourse analysis. And then the results of this article can be seen that the use and structure of language and the use of word Englishes in America and the Philippines are different. Since from Trump's speech, Trump used speech with the linguistic structure of the American English version, and then will President Duterte use the English language structure of the Philippines and mix with the Filipino Tagalog language. This is the conclusion in my research article, and then there are 9 references in my research article. And then I think enough for my research article. Thank you very much. Sorry for the mistakes. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.